So I just wanted to come on here live. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. So Saturday's here. I don't even know what time it is. It's 8:30 here in Colorado. And I love waking up now on Saturdays and being able to enjoy my family. We never have to... Careful, Cece. We never have to really... we never have it determined where we're going. No plans, really. Summer's coming. And we're super excited. Bella, come here for a second, baby. We're really excited for summer because so much goes on in the summer here in Colorado. There's concerts every weekend, Friday, Saturday nights. There's always some kind of concert going on. And get together with friends, cookouts, and just enjoying life. And I'm really excited this summer because some of the amazing things that go on the weekends were when I was working for a company where I had to be in every weekends because that's the demand. The demands were always the weekends, so I needed more help. So
there are thousands of videos of Shanann Watts online. Hours of footage, smiling, talking, sharing her life with anyone who would watch. Her marriage, her children, her hopes, her struggles. Millions of people have watched them. But almost no one saw what she was actually telling us. August 13, 2018, morning, Colorado. Shanann Watts didn't come home from a business trip. She came home, walked through her front door at 1:48 a.m. Her husband helped her with her luggage. And by dawn, she was dead. So was Bella, her 4-year-old daughter. So was Celeste, her 3-year-old. And so was Nico, the baby boy she was carrying. Her husband, Chris Watts, killed them all. But here's what most people get wrong about this case. They think it was sudden, a snap, a moment of rage. They think Chris Watts was a good man who did something terrible. But if you go back and watch those videos, really watch them, you'll see something else. You'll see a woman trying to save a marriage that was already over. You'll see a man who had already left, long before anyone noticed. And you'll see the clue we all missed. Not in what was said, but in what was absent. Welcome to Fatal Whispers. We don't just retell true crime stories, we uncover the psychological truth beneath them. If you've followed this case before, you might think you know it. But stay with us. Because what Shanann was showing us in those videos, it wasn't a perfect life. It was a cry for help that no one heard. Subscribe if you want stories told with depth, with care, with truth. This is what we missed about Shanann Watts. Shanann Watts documented her life obsessively. Not just the big moments, the small ones too. Morning routines, bedtime with the girls, date nights with Chris, business calls, grocery shopping, dinner prep. She posted on Facebook multiple times a day, Instagram, Snapchat. Some people loved it, said she was inspiring, real, relatable. Others found it exhausting, performative, too much. But here's the question no one asked. Why? Why would a woman share this much of her life? Some said it was for her job. She worked for Lavelle, a multi-level marketing company that sold wellness products called Thrive. She posted to build her business, to attract customers. But that doesn't explain the rest. The videos of Bella and Celeste sleeping, the late-night posts about marriage being hard, the tearful confessions about struggling financially. That wasn't marketing. That was something else. Let's look at one video from July 2018, about a month before she died. Shanann is in her car. It's early morning. She's wearing a Thrive shirt. Her makeup is done, but you can see she's tired. She talks about being grateful, about pushing through hard days, about believing things will get better if you just keep working. And then she says something that most people scrolled past. Some of you have asked how I stay positive when things are hard, and honestly, some days I don't. Some days I just smile and keep going because I don't know what else to do. She laughs, but it's not a real laugh. And then the video ends. People commented, "You're so strong. Keep going, mama. You inspire me." But no one asked, "What's hard? Why are you struggling? Are you okay?" Because we saw what we wanted to see. A woman who had it together. A woman with a beautiful family and a positive attitude and a thriving business. But that's not what she was showing us. She was showing us effort. Enormous, exhausting, relentless effort. Effort to stay positive, to keep her marriage alive, to make enough money to be enough. Here, what we know now about Shannon's life in 2018. She and Chris were drowning in debt, over $70,000 owed to creditors. They'd filed for bankruptcy in 2015, lost their home in North Carolina, moved to Colorado to start over. But the debt followed them. By the summer of 2018, they were 3 months behind on their mortgage. The HOA was threatening legal action. Shannon's car had been repossessed. She was working constantly, posting, calling clients, going to conferences, trying to dig them out. And Chris said very little. In the videos Shannon posted, he appears sometimes, playing with the girls, sitting next to her on the couch, smiling. But if you watch closely, you'll notice something. He's there, but he's not present. He doesn't initiate, doesn't add to the conversation, doesn't look at Shannon when she talks. He just exists in the frame. One video from early August shows the family at dinner. Shannon is talking to the camera, laughing, trying to get the girls to eat. Chris is sitting at the table. Silent. Shannon says, "Chris, tell them about your day." He looks up, says, "It was fine," and then looks back down. Shannon laughs it off, keeps talking. But you can see it in her face. The effort it takes to fill the silence. This is the clue everyone missed. Shannon wasn't performing a perfect life. She was performing for an audience of one. Her husband, trying to prove they were still a family, still in love, still worth saving. And he had already stopped watching. Drop a comment if you've noticed this in the videos, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Chris Watts didn't leave his marriage in August 2018. He left months earlier, maybe even years earlier. But no one noticed. Not his coworkers, not his neighbors, not even Shannon at first. Because Chris didn't leave loudly, he left silently. People who knew Chris described him the same way: quiet, nice, easygoing. He didn't argue, didn't complain, didn't cause problems. He just agreed, went along, did what was expected. But somewhere beneath that agreeability, there was resentment. Resentment about the debt, about the pressure, about the life he felt he hadn't chosen. He didn't talk about it, didn't express it, didn't ask for help. He just withdrew. Psychologists call this stonewalling. It's one of the most destructive patterns in a relationship. It's not yelling, not fighting, not drama. It's absence. Emotional absence. The refusal to engage, to respond, to be present. And it's almost impossible to fight against. Because how do you fix someone who says everything is fine? In early 2018, Shannon started noticing changes. Chris was distant, distracted. He stopped touching her, stopped asking about her day, stopped initiating conversations. She thought maybe he was stressed about work, about money. She tried to help, made his favorite meals, planned date nights, suggested they talk. He said everything was fine. But everything wasn't fine. In June 2018, Chris met a woman at work named Nikki Kessinger. She was younger, single, no kids, no debt, no baggage. She represented everything Chris felt his life was. Freedom, lightness, choice. They started talking, then texting, then meeting outside of work. By late June, they were having an affair. And Chris felt alive for the first time in years. Not because Nikki was special, but because with her, he didn't have to be Chris Watts, the husband and father who was failing at everything. He could just be Chris. Whoever that was. He told Nikki his marriage was over, that he and Shannan were separating, that it was just a matter of time. Nikki believed him. Why wouldn't she? He seemed genuine, honest, clear. But here, what Chris didn't tell Nikki. He hadn't told Shannan any of this. He was still texting her, "I love you," still sending heart emojis, still playing the role of husband. Because Chris Watts wasn't ending his marriage. He was erasing it. In early August, Shannan took Bella and Celeste to North Carolina for 6 weeks. It was supposed to be a family visit, a break. Chris stayed in Colorado, said he had to work. But what he really needed was space. Space to be with Nikki, space to live the fantasy, space to pretend his old life didn't exist. During those 6 weeks, Shannan posted constantly. Videos of the girls at the beach, photos with her family, updates about missing Chris. She texted him every day, sent pictures, asked how he was doing. His responses got shorter, less frequent, more distant. She noticed. She told friends he seemed off, pulled away, different. She thought maybe he just needed time alone, that when they got back together, things would get better. But Chris wasn't missing her. He was forgetting her. While Shannan was in North Carolina trying to keep their connection alive, Chris was at the gym, losing weight, buying new clothes, going on dates with Nikki. He was building a new life. And in that life, Shannan and the girls didn't exist. Friends later said Chris seemed happier during those weeks, lighter, more energetic. They thought he was finally taking care of himself. But what they were actually seeing was a man shedding his old life like dead skin. Here's the psychological pattern most people miss. Chris didn't hate Shannan. He didn't even dislike her. He just wanted her to disappear. Not die, just not exist. He wanted the house without the mortgage, the freedom without the divorce, the new life without the consequences of leaving the old one. And when you want something to disappear badly enough, when you've already erased it in your mind, sometimes you make it happen. If you're still here, hit that like button, because this is the part of the story that matters most. August 10th, 2018. Shannan and the girls flew back to Colorado for a birthday party. She'd been gone for 5 weeks. She was excited, hopeful. She thought maybe the distance had been good for them, that they could reconnect. But the moment she walked through the door, she felt it. Something was wrong. Chris barely looked at her, barely touched her, barely spoke. It wasn't anger, it wasn't coldness. It was worse. It was indifference. Like she was a stranger in her own home. Shannan tried everything. She smiled, asked questions, talked about the trip, showed him videos of the girls. He nodded, said that's nice, looked at his phone. She felt like she was screaming into a void. On the night of August 11th, after the kids were asleep, Shannan confronted him. She didn't yell, didn't accuse. She just asked, "Do you still want to be married to me?" Chris looked at her, and for a long moment he said nothing. Then, "I don't know." Not no, not I want a divorce, not I'm unhappy. Just I don't know. It was the cruelest answer he could have given. Because it meant she had to keep trying. Keep hopping. Keep fighting for something he'd already let go of. Shannan broke down, cried, begged him to talk to her, to tell her what was wrong, to let her help. Chris said very little. He didn't comfort her, didn't reassure her, didn't fight for the marriage. He just sat there. Later that night, Shannan texted a friend. He said he's not in love with me anymore. I don't know what to do. I feel like my world is falling apart. Her friend told her to give him space, to let him process. So she did. The next day, August 12th, Shannan and the girls flew back to North Carolina. She believed, truly believed, that if she gave him time, he'd realize what he was losing. That he'd come back to her. But Chris wasn't processing. He was planning. The day Shannan left, Chris went to the sand dunes with Nikki. They spent the day together, took photos, talked about their future. Nikki asked when he'd be free to really start their life together. Chris said soon. And he meant it. Because in his mind, Shannan was already gone. August 13th, early morning. Shannan flew home from a work conference in Arizona. She was exhausted, pregnant, emotional, but also determined. She spent the last week thinking, praying, deciding. She was going to fight for her marriage. She landed at 1:48 a.m. A neighbor's doorbell camera captured the moment. Chris's truck in the driveway, Shannan getting out of a friend's car, Chris helping her with her luggage. They walked inside together. And within 2 hours, she was dead. Share this video if someone needs to understand how dangerous silence can be. Chris Watts has told multiple versions of what happened in the early hours of August 13th. First, he said Shannan killed the girls, so he killed her in rage. Then he admitted he killed them all, said it was an emotional conversation that went wrong. Later, he said he'd been planning it, that he knew what he was going to do before she even came home. The truth is somewhere in that final confession. Because the evidence shows this. Shannan was strangled while she slept. She didn't fight back, didn't scream, didn't have defensive wounds. She was killed quickly, quietly. And then Chris walked down the hall. To Bella's room, then Celeste. He smothered them, one at a time. Bella woke up, asked, "What are you doing to CC?" And he killed her anyway. Not in rage, not in panic. In cold, deliberate silence. Then he loaded their bodies into his truck, drove to a remote oil site, buried Shannan in a shallow grave, and dropped Bella and Celeste into oil tanks. 20 feet high, crude oil darkness. Bella was still alive when he put her in. Then he went to work, texted Nikki, acted normal. When Shannan's friend called the police, Chris stood in his living room and lied. Calmly, easily. Said Shannan took the girls and left. By August 17th, all 3 bodies had been recovered. Chris confessed. And on November 6, 2018, he was sentenced to 5 life sentences without parole. But that's not the story. The story is what we missed. Let's go back to the videos one more time. There's one from late July, just 2 weeks before Shannan died. She's sitting in her bedroom, talking about marriage, about hard times. She says, "I know some of you are going through rough patches, and I just want to tell you don't give up. Keep fighting, keep loving, keep showing up, because that's what marriage is. Showing up even when it's hard." She's smiling when she says it. But her voice cracks. It was meant to show a second. A smiling face, a steady voice, a sense of control. Social media has a way of rewarding presentation, and Shannan understood that better than most. The videos captured productivity, motivation, and resilience, moments designed to inspire and reassure. But cameras don't record what happens after the recording ends. They don't capture the pauses between breaths, the weight carried in silence, or the emotional cost of always having to be on. Shannan was working and that so difference hard to hold between what the camera revealed and what it quietly concealed matters more than anyone realized at the time. Not physically. When viewers rewatch those clips now, they often point to small details. And all the
I
videos,
like
all
4
the
or 5
posts,
pieces of
all
ice cubes, like 3 or 4
Chinese
pieces of
letter,
ice cubes in
Chinese
mine.
letter. Couldn't bring him
Can't
back
smell it. But look,
because he didn't want to come back.
I'm
Here,
so
what the
excited
videos
for
were
you,
actually
Shannan.
showing us.
I'm going to shoot you a
woman
message when I
carrying
get
the
off
full
here. I
weight
just put
of
the
a
kids
marriage.
down. Don't mind me,
woman
guys.
trying
I'm
to
in my
perform
pajamas
happiness
already
into
because it's
existence.
bedtime.
Smells
A
good.
woman who believed that if she was just good enough, strong
that.
enough, positive enough,
That's good.
Everything
Christina
would be
says
okay.
it tastes like my favorite
But
ice
it wasn't her
cream.
job
I'm
to
so
save that
excited. I
marriage
love
alone.
Green Mint ice cream. It's my
It wasn't her
absolute
fault that
favorite.
Chris
And
withdrew.
it's not just mint ice cream.
Change in tone, a forced laugh, a look that lingered just a second too long.
Shanann Watts
But back
did
then,
everything
those moments
right.
passed without
She
meaning.
communicated.
They
she
blended into
tried,
the
she
rhythm of
fought, she
everyday
loved.
content, interpreted
And
as
it still
stress,
wasn't
fatigue,
enough.
or nothing at all.
Not because
The
she
internet
wasn't
trained
enough,
people to
but
normalize
because
pressure,
Chris
to
Watts had
applaud
already
endurance
decided.
rather than question it.
He didn't want to
If
fix
something
the
felt
marriage.
off, it was brushed aside
wanted to
because the
erase it.
overall picture still
And when
looked
you're married
positive.
to someone who's
And
already
positivity,
erased you
once
in their
established, has a powerful
no amount
way
of
of
love can
silencing
save
doubt.
you.
Think
That's the
about how
clue
many
we all
times
missed.
you've watched someone
Not
online
in
and
what
felt like
Shanann
you
said,
understood their life.
but in what
If you've
Chris
ever
didn't
thought,
say.
they seem
The
fine,
silence,
or they've got it
the
together,
absence,
drop a comment
the
below,
complete and
because
total
this case
withdrawal.
forces us to confront how
That was the
often we
warning.
confuse visibility with
And by
truth.
the time anyone noticed,
What makes this
it was too
story
late.
unsettling is not that
On
warning
November
signs
6th,
were obvious.
2018,
It's
Chris
that they
Watts
were
pleaded
subtle,
guilty.
human, and easy to
Shannon's father
excuse.
spoke at sentencing.
The camera became a
He didn't
filter,
ask why,
not
didn't
just
yell.
visually but emotionally.
He just said,
It selected what the world was
trusted
allowed
you
to
to
see
take
and
care
left
of them.
everything else unrecorded.
Shanann Watts
And as the
was
videos
34 years
continued,
old.
so did the illusion
Bella
that
was
everything
4.
was manageable, that
Celeste was
challenges
3.
were temporary, that
Nico
love and
never
effort
got to
would
be
fix
born.
whatever struggles
They
existed
deserved
off screen.
so much more than 48
No one
hours.
watching believed they were
So
witnessing
say
the
their
lead up to a
names.
tragedy. They
Shanann
believed they
Watts,
were watching
Bella
strength.
Watts, Celeste Watts,
And in that
Nico
belief,
Watts.
the most important, remember what Shanann was really showing us in those videos. Not a perfect life, but a woman trying her hardest to save one. And remember what Chris Watts showed us. That silence can be just as deadly as violence. That withdrawal can be just as dangerous as rage. That some people don't explode. They just disappear. And take everyone with them. If this story moved you, share it, so Shannon's memory doesn't fade into entertainment. Subscribe to Fatal Whispers for more psychological deep dives, told with care and truth. And if you're in a relationship where you feel like you're the only one showing up, that's not love. That's loneliness. And you deserve more. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next investigation.